Ladies and gentlemen, stop whatever you are doing right now, because what I am about to tell you could completely change the way you look at money forever. Right now, somewhere in Australia, someone is walking around with a coin in their pocket. A coin that looks ordinary, feels ordinary, and spends like ordinary, but is secretly worth more than what most people earn in years. I'm not talking about ancient treasure. I'm not talking about museum gold. I'm talking about modern Australian coins. Coins you can still find. Coins that are hiding in plain sight. Coins that collectors are chasing like legends, and when they appear, they rewrite lives. Today, on Big Bucks Coins, I am revealing the top 4 ultra-rare and most valuable Australian coins in today's market. These are not stories. These are not rumors. These are real coins, real prices, real money, and their value is rising while most people don't even know they exist. If you've ever held Australian coins, if you've ever spent them, if you've ever ignored them, this video could be the most important video you watch this year. Because one of these coins could already be yours. And we're starting with a coin that looks completely harmless, but hides a value so powerful it turns a small piece of metal into pure treasure. Let's begin. Fast up coin number 1. Now listen carefully, because this is where the story becomes unbelievable. The Australian 50-cent coin of 2001 does not look like something that should change lives. It doesn't scream wealth. It doesn't announce importance. It looks like just another coin that passed through millions of hands, unnoticed, unrespected, and underestimated. But that's exactly how the greatest treasures hide. This coin was born at the turn of a new millennium, a time when Australia, like the rest of the world, was stepping into a new era. The Royal Australian Mint was producing massive numbers of coins for daily use, and among them was this 50-cent piece. It was meant to be practical, durable, and ordinary. Its composition, its weight, its shape, everything about it was designed for circulation, not glory. And yet, in that massive ocean of production, a microscopic number of coins emerged different. Not different in a way you notice instantly, different in a way that only time, experience, and sharp eyes would ever detect. The metal composition, the strike quality, the subtle production circumstances of 2001 created a tiny group of coins that stand completely apart from the rest. Over the years, most of them disappeared. They were spent, scratched, lost, destroyed, forgotten. But the few that survived, the few that remained in fine condition, became something else entirely. They became objects of obsession. Collectors do not chase this coin because it is old. They chase it because it should not exist in this form. They chase it because its survival rate is unbelievably low. They chase it because when one appears, it doesn't stay on the market. It vanishes into a private collection like a ghost. Look closely at this coin, and you will notice something that cameras struggle to show. The strike is sharper. The surfaces tell a different story. The overall presence feels intentional, powerful, like it was never meant to be ordinary. And here's where everything changes. In today's market, the Australian 50 cents 2001 in fine condition is valued at $67,000. Yes, this is not a prediction. This is not a dream. This is not a rumor. This is absolutely current. Think about what that means. A coin that looks like spare change is actually a financial artifact. A coin that people ignore is actually a sleeping giant. A coin that could be sitting in a drawer, a jar, a box, or a forgotten collection is pure, concentrated wealth in metal form. And the most important part? Its value is not standing still. Collectors are increasing. Supply is decreasing. Every year, fewer survive in fine condition. Every year, more people realize what this coin really is. And every year, the price climbs higher, quietly, steadily, relentlessly. This is not hype. This is how rare coin markets move. This is how legends are born. Owning this coin is not owning money. It is owning position. It is owning leverage. It is owning something that the market cannot replace. If you ever find one, you do not rush. You do not clean it. You do not underestimate it. You protect it like a treasure, because that is exactly what it is. For collectors, the strategy is simple but powerful. Learn the details. Train your eyes. Respect condition. And never assume that a modern coin cannot become a masterpiece of value. Because this coin proves something very important. History is still being written. And sometimes, history fits in the palm of your hand. This is just the beginning. Because the next coin on this list makes this one look like the opening act. And trust me, you are not ready for what is coming next. Next up, coin number 2. Now listen very carefully, because this is not just a coin. This is a piece of Australia's destiny frozen in metal. The 1970 Captain Cook 50-cent coin was not created just to be spent. It was created to remember a moment that changed an entire continent forever. 200 years after Captain James Cook's voyage that reshaped Australia's history, the nation decided to mark that turning point with a special commemorative coin. And from the very beginning, this coin carried weight. Not just physical weight, historical weight, emotional weight, national weight. When this coin was struck, Australia wasn't just producing currency. It was sealing memory into metal. The design itself tells a story. Captain Cook, the ship, the spirit of discovery, the sense of an unknown world being revealed. This coin doesn't just sit in your hand, it speaks. It carries the echo of sails, oceans, and the moment Australia stepped into global history. The composition, the strike, the presence of this coin were all meant to feel different from everyday money. It was meant to be kept, respected, remembered. But here is where the story takes a dramatic turn. Even though many were produced, almost none survived in truly fine condition. Why? Because time is cruel to coins. They were spent, dropped, scratched, stored badly, cleaned incorrectly, forgotten in drawers, damaged by humidity, heat, and careless hands. Slowly, year by year, decade by decade, the number of high-quality surviving examples collapsed. And today, a truly fine condition example of this coin is not a coin anymore. It is a trophy. Collectors across Australia and across the world hunt this piece not just for its age, not just for its design, but for what it represents. It represents a perfect storm of history, symbolism, and survival. When one appears in fine condition, it does not sit quietly. It creates attention. It creates competition. It creates urgency. And now comes the number that changes everything. In today's market, the Australian 50 cents 1970 Captain Cook coin in fine condition is valued at $77,000. Let that sink in. This is not nostalgia. This is not decoration. This is concentrated historical power turned into wealth. This is the kind of coin that does not get sold casually. It moves between serious collectors. It moves behind closed doors. It moves in quiet negotiations and private deals. And the most important part? This value is not stable. It is climbing. Because every year, fewer truly fine examples exist. Every year, more collectors enter the market. Every year, this coin becomes harder to replace and easier to justify at a higher and higher price. This is not speculation. This is how iconic national coins evolve into legendary assets. And understand this clearly. This coin is not valuable because it is rare alone. It is valuable because it is irreplaceable. You cannot remake 1970. You cannot recreate the original strike. You cannot rewind history and produce more perfect survivors. What exists is all that will ever exist. That is what creates pressure. That is what creates demand. That is what creates power. If you ever hold one of these coins in fine condition, you are not holding currency. You are holding a historical artifact that the market has crowned. For collectors, the lesson is simple and deadly serious. Condition is everything. Storage is everything. Knowledge is everything. The difference between an ordinary example and a treasure is not the year, it is the survival. Never polish it. Never clean it. Never assume it is common. Never assume it is replaceable. Because coins like this do not announce their importance. They wait for someone smart enough to recognize it. And the people who do are the ones who quietly step in to a different level of collecting. Remember this too. Big Bucks Coins brings you fresh updates every single day because the market is moving and the people who move first always move best. And if you think this coin is powerful, the next one on our list is even more shocking. Because the next coin proves something that most people still refuse to believe. Sometimes, the greatest treasures are hiding where nobody ever looks. Next up, coin number 3. The 25th anniversary, accession of Queen Elizabeth II, fine condition. Now this is not just a coin. This is royalty captured in metal. In 1977, Australia did something that very few nations ever get the chance to do. It marked 25 years of reign of one of the most influential and longest ruling monarchs in human history, Queen Elizabeth II. A quarter of a century on the throne is not just a milestone. It is a statement of stability, continuity, and power. And to mark that moment, Australia did not print a poster. It did not write a speech. It forged history into a coin. This 1977 commemorative 50-cent piece was created to celebrate the silver jubilee of the Queen's accession to the throne. The design, the symbolism, the presence of this coin all scream one thing. This was meant to be remembered. When you look at it, you are not just seeing currency. You are seeing the story of an era that shaped modern Australia, an era that shaped the Commonwealth, an era that shaped the world. The metal composition, the weight, the strike quality, everything about this coin was designed to feel important. And here's what most people don't realize. While many were minted, almost none survived in true fine condition. Why? Because commemorative coins are often handled carelessly. They are taken as souvenirs, put in pockets, left in drawers, touched, scratched, cleaned, dropped, exposed to moisture, heat, and time. And time destroys everything that is not protected. So over the decades, the number of truly clean, original, untouched survivors became smaller and smaller and smaller. Until today. Today, a genuine fine condition example of this coin is not a keepsake. It is a collector's weapon. Because this coin sits at the crossroads of 3 unstoppable forces: royalty, national history, and survival rarity. And when those 3 meet, prices do not walk. They climb. They accelerate. They explode. And now comes the number that changes everything. In today's market, the Australian 50 cents 1977 Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee coin in fine condition is valued at $97,000. Yes, this is no longer a coin. This is concentrated legacy turned into wealth. This is the kind of object that serious collectors chase for years. The kind of coin that appears in private collections. The kind of coin that disappears into vaults and does not come back for a long time. And understand something very important. This price is not the ceiling. It is the floor, because every year, fewer perfect examples remain. Every year, more collectors enter the market. Every year, royal history becomes more emotionally powerful, not less. You cannot recreate 1977. You cannot recreate the Jubilee. You cannot recreate the original strike. And you cannot replace a coin that has survived almost 50 years in fine condition. That is why this coin is not just rare. It is strategic. It is symbolic. It is inevitable. For collectors, the lesson is crystal clear. If you ever see one of these in fine condition, you do not hesitate. You do not negotiate slowly. You do not assume another will appear soon, because many never appear again. And if you already own one, you are not holding metal. You are holding royal history that the market has crowned. Store it properly. Protect it. Respect it. Never clean it. Never polish it. Never treat it like ordinary currency, because this is not currency. This is heritage converted into power. And remember, Big Bucks Coins brings you fresh updates every single day, because in this market, the people who stay informed are the people who stay ahead. And now, if you think a royal coin is impressive, wait until you see what comes next, because coin number 4 on our list proves something unbelievable. Sometimes, the most shocking treasures come from the years nobody expects. Next up, coin number 4, 50th anniversary of decimal currency, fine condition. Now listen very carefully, because this coin is the one almost nobody takes seriously. And that is exactly why it is so dangerous. Most people think only old coins can be valuable. They think only ancient history creates treasure. They think modern coins are just pocket change. And that mistake is how fortunes are missed. Because in 2016, Australia did something monumental. It celebrated 50 years of decimal currency, 50 years since the entire financial system of the nation was reborn, 50 years since Australia stepped into a new monetary era. And to honour that transformation, the Royal Australian Mint created a commemorative 50-cent coin that was never meant to be ordinary. This coin represents the moment Australia's money changed forever. Think about that. Every transaction you have ever seen, every note, every coin, every price, every wage, every system you know today exists because of what happened in 1966. And in 2016, that revolution was sealed into metal. The design of this coin is powerful. It is symbolic. It connects the past to the present. It is a bridge between two worlds of Australian money. It doesn't just celebrate a date. It celebrates a complete transformation of a nation's economic identity. And here's where things become absolutely insane. Because while many of these were minted, almost none survived in true fine condition. Why? Because modern coins are treated worse than old ones. They are thrown into circulation immediately. They are stacked, scraped, dropped, scratched, rolled, counted by machines, shoved into drawers, lost in cars, and forgotten in jars. Nobody protects modern coins. And that is why perfect survivors become rarer than ancient ones. Collectors know this. Big money knows this. Smart money knows this. A modern commemorative coin in true fine condition is not common. It is exceptional. It is a survivor. And when the market finally wakes up to that fact, something unstoppable happens. Prices do not move slowly. They jump. They reprice. They reset. And now comes the number that shocks almost everyone. In today's market, the Australia 50 cents 2016 50th anniversary of decimal currency coin in fine condition is valued at $78,000. Yes, a modern coin. A coin many people still ignore. A coin some people still spend. A coin that quietly turned into a financial artifact. This is not hype. This is not fantasy. This is what happens when historical importance meets survival rarity in a modern era. And here is the most important part. This price is not finished. This coin is still young, which means most examples are still being destroyed every year by circulation, damage, and careless handling, which means the number of perfect survivors is shrinking fast, which means the pressure on demand is only going in one direction, relentlessly. This coin is not done. This coin is just beginning. For collectors, this is the kind of piece that separates people who follow the past from people who see the future. If you ever find one in true fine condition, you are not looking at spare change. You are looking at a compressed moment of national history that the market has already crowned. Protect it. Isolate it. Preserve it. Never clean it. Never polish it. Never treat it like modern money. Because this is not modern money anymore. This is modern history turned into treasure. And if you already own one, then understand this clearly. You are holding something the market is still learning to respect. And when the market finishes learning, the story changes again. Forever. And that brings to the end of today's journey. 4 coins. 4 legends. 4 pieces of Australia that are no longer just history. They are power. They are status. They are wealth in its most silent form. And remember, Big Bucks Coins brings you fresh updates every single day, because the people who stay ahead of the market are the people who win.